Welcome to Champ Talk with Brandon Hudson. I am your host, Brandon Hudson, and next to me I have the infamous...
It's just Chet. I'm sorry, man.
Sick Chet.
not so sick.
Sick Chet.
I
He's
feel
fumigating. He's fumigating the C word on me right now.
I
as we
feel
speak.
much better.
You don't look much better, dog.
I want to go for a walk. I'm not dead yet.
Not yet. Guys, this episode of Champ Talk with Brandon Hudson is brought to you by SBY MMA and Fitness, your place for combat sports. Check us out. We're everywhere, to be honest with you. Also, if you get value from this episode, if it's something that you know someone else would get value from, whatever, like, subscribe, comment, rate the channel. I know on Spotify you can actually rate it. It helps us get higher in the search engines and helps us get viewed. We give all of our content out for free. We're just looking to continue to just provide value for everyone. So again, go there, like, subscribe, hit our YouTube, Spotify, Champ Talk page on Instagram, Facebook, all over the place, Apple Podcasts, you know it, you name it, and please help a brother out. So, Chandler, how are you, buddy?
Better than I have been, but not 100%. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. So if you guys are watching this now, it's actually when we recorded this, it's December 30th. So we've had the holidays. We're coming up on the new year, and poor Chet was supposed to come to our dinner.
Oh, man.
And he was dying.
Yeah, this stuff was brutal. Whatever was going around, fluvid or whatever. I don't know.
Fluvid.
Yeah, I think it was a double whammy for sure.
Well, be careful. We don't want to say the C word because we don't want to get in trouble or flagged. You know what I mean? But
I said fluvid.
I know. I'm just saying. Yeah, it was tough, man. Just about everywhere you see and hear and go here on the eastern shore of Maryland, people are sick. You know what I mean? We're just passing it back and forth.
Eat your fruits and veggies and take your vitamins and oh man.
Yeah, my son actually.
And stay home. If you're sick, stay home.
Yes, please.
Jeez.
Yeah, my son actually got a pretty bad virus as well, like later on in Christmas Day, and then led into the entire weekend. And you
got to push his birthday party back.
We got to push his birthday party back. His birthday's the day after Christmas. So shout out to my son Tyrion, little Tyrion, the champion of half men. But yeah, man. So, but luckily enough, because of my vitamins and my healthy regimen,
yes,
I have avoided it like Neo. So my wife, not so much. Bless her heart. She goes 100 miles an hour. Shout out to Bethany, my better half. You are the real one, baby. She won't see this because she doesn't listen to any of my episodes, but she knows where my heart is and how much I care.
Is she doing podcast?
Maybe. Possibly. But speaking of...
She's doing.
Yeah, she's working on it. Speaking of New Year's, we got New Year's coming up. I am a New Year's resolution person, right? I know some people aren't. I know, in the personal development space, like, yeah, you gotta do it all every day, motivation, all that shit. And, a lot of it works, whatever floats your boat, guys. Look, I don't give a fuck what you're doing. If you're doing something, at least you're doing something. And if you need motivational talk or you need strategy talk or, you need to go to church, you need to go to synagogue, whatever the fuck you need to do what you need to do to help you be better, okay? For me, I don't mind any reason to party, and I don't mind any reason to reset, right? So give me a reason to reset, and it helps me, switch that gear. Mm-hmm. So I'm one of the kind of guys that, when I was competing in MMA, you start your camp like 8 weeks out, 12 weeks out, depending on, what you're looking at. And for me, it was I actually back up a little bit. I have actually completed 75 hard. I did the 175 hard, and then I did phase 1 as well.
As I remember, you did. I didn't know there was other parts to it.
Oh, there's a couple more phases I'm looking forward to, but did them first try, first attempt, boom, knocked it out the park, right? Not look at Brandon, cool. I'm just saying this is the way my mind works. For me, when I have something directly in front of me, it's an automatic. I don't have to. I could just switch that gear in my brain. And if we're talking about a fight camp, it can go first week. I'm getting used to it and dying and feeling all the shit. But I'm not really struggling with the diet side. I'm not struggling with the discipline side of that because I've already switched my mindset into that gear. Second week, getting a little bit better, but by the end of the second week, I'm dialed in. I don't want any kind of sweets. I'm good. I'm good with my diet. Good with my lifestyle, good with where we're going, and so on and so forth. And for me, it's like, dude, If I'm sitting the fuck around with nothing in front of me to make me want to switch that gear,
That's when you start to stray.
I just stray. I make excuses. I make what's that word? Exceptions on. I could eat this donut. I could do this, and I always have a reason or an excuse as to why I can let myself not be as disciplined when I'm in camp or when I'm in a program like 75 Hard or anything like that. Right. So. Coming up on my 2025, when I do every year, it's been working for me for a while, and I've shared this with you before, for a handful of years now, probably 6 or 7 years. I always start in about November where I come up with a word or a phrase. Yep. And then that's going to lead me into the new year. And what I've done more recently than ever the past couple of years is I've started to really plan out and strategize what my year looks like. Right. And
based on that or including that?
Including that, yeah. Because what happens is I'm kind of like everyone else. You're really kind of focused in certain areas of the year. And you really need to be understanding of you have to give yourself grace, but also be hard on yourself. And you have to understand where you're at. You're going to be fluffier in some parts of the year more than others, right? You're going to be more disciplined in some parts of the year more than others. Being a machine like guys like David Goggins or, guys and gals that we know here in the fitness industry, okay, great. Those guys can do it. What's their vehicle behind them, right? What's their engine behind them? For me, I would love to be shredded all year round, right? But I don't have an additional 2 hours to focus on the gym and focus on my body. I have so many other things like yourself we have to do. But I do take the time in November and December to start strategizing out my year. And I also take that time to reflect on 2024. And, 2024 was a very interesting year, to say this.
That's the word I would use, interesting, for sure.
100%. I want to say it was a very tough year. And I also want to say it was a very good year.
I was going to say there was ups and downs for sure. I mean, so much good, but then there's like, yeah,
it was interesting. Mm-hmm. And we were on the backs of 23 and 22, which for the economy wasn't the greatest for a lot of businesses and industries. You know what I mean? It was definitely we saw by the time we got to 2024, people were struggling to pay their bills. Money was tight. You get into the political side and the economy side, and you had all the politics and elections going on, and who was going to save the earth, who was going to ruin the earth. You had interest rates were high. Inflation was high, unemployment was high. You had all these things that,
we all kept getting up every day and going to do our shit.
Nothing changed, nothing changed. Out of all the presidents since 1981, since I've been alive, and you got a couple more years on me, I don't recall any of them ever visiting Salisbury and coming to talk to us and coming to my house and fixing things. So for you guys that think that the president's going to save you, you're sadly mistaken. We have to save ourselves, and you have to save yourself. And I'm not getting down that rabbit hole of what can happen. We're all not stupid. We know that there's pros and cons of everybody. But at the end of the day, you got all these people that are just wishing to be saved by whoever their candidate is, but don't go out here and save themselves. So I digress a little bit. Back to my original story. I looked at 2024, and I did some really good things, really great things, and I fell short on a lot of other things, right? And we made more money than we've ever made at the gym this year. So we had a down economy the past 2 years. Each year we've been able to, almost 25% increase in growth this past year, which is big. Actually, it was a 50% increase this year almost. That was big, in gross revenue. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean I'm making that much money or you are, but, overall the business is generating. We're growing. We're pouring back into it. We had we signed up well over 250 members at the gym this year.
Yeah.
Right. That was a big deal. That's 250 lives that we get to change. You know what I mean? And I made a post about this. I mean, it was all hands on deck. Mm-hmm. You worked a lot. A couple of other guys and gals busted their tails. Our coaches committed and things like that. And we didn't keep obviously 250 members because that's just the nature of the beast. You got to battle retention, but still, you had to be on the Eastern Shore and hover around 400 members, give or take the time of year. I think that's pretty good, especially being technically only really technically a true LLC for 6 years. You know what I mean? And doing the 6-figure expansions and all the other crazy things that we've had.
There's a lot of commitment to getting that done.
Yeah. And a lot of trial and error, a lot of fucked up mistakes that we should have and could have done differently. I know I made a ton of them, and I was just the blind leading you. Come on, Johnny, let's go over here. Jump in this water. I don't think no crocodiles is in here.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. We did. But yeah, we did really well income wise. We did really well hiring wise. We did really, really well gross wise, and it's only going to get better. 2024, I stayed very consistent with, my nutrition, my diet, my workout, relatively healthy, minimal injuries, minimal time off. I was on a plane at least once, but some months twice, 9 months out of the year. Which that's insane for me. That's not something that
I thought was hilarious because you're talking about scaling back, and then next thing you know, it's like you get a phone call like, I got to go to Dallas this week.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah, they need me. Yeah, so I mean, that was that was that's a lot for me. Whether it was traveling or business, that's not something that's normal for me. Not normal being in a MMA space. You know what I mean? I have won a couple of awards this year, you know what I mean? One, it was in Dallas, and been in some rooms and talked in some rooms and spoke on stages that I've never, been a part of. I've had some really good things that go down this year. Yeah, at the Maryland and Delaware group, the real estate office, I'm pushing more into the leadership side of things and helping out more on that end where, we've grown so much there that, we're now shifting, just the way that we're all doing things in a whole. And you came on board with us and replaced me as the recruiter. You know what I mean? So a lot of cool things.
This year's going to be interesting too.
Oh, it's going to be awesome, dude.
I mean, just seeing where things are going at the end of 2024 involved now.
Yeah. It took you a couple months, and now it's like really clicking, and you're really seeing and understanding like, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, here we are.
Yeah.
We out this bitch now, motherfuckers. Sorry, Gimp. Anyway, but yeah, so, we had some really great things that went down. And then there was some bad things, in my opinion, or things not so favorable that, that I felt very, very short on and frustrated on, my personal income, for instance. I've been let's see, November 10th of this year marked 10 years since the day I walked in to serve my incarceration, right? So I say that's like the day that I kind of switched gears and changed my life, so to speak, right? And so July 4th of 25 will be actually 10 years that I've been home. And then, SBY technically would have been created, SBY MMA technically would have been created in August of that year. But we say 2016 because that's when like we really did. One of my clients gets on me all the time. She's like, "It's not 16, it's 15." I was like, "I know." But so anyway, we're working on a decade of where I started really chasing this personal development and this new life and figuring it all out as we go, and just incredible journey and incredible. Just I was talking about this the other night. Just incredible where I'm at. But anyway, anywho, coming from the world that I came from and coming from the mindset I came from. It was all about chasing money and getting bread and getting another dollar figure. And for some reason, it just seemed like it was never enough, right? I made it a purpose and a mission to say, hey, I cannot chase money and make that the sole goal. I have to chase my dream, my mission, my purpose. I have to put others first. That has got to be what I need to do. And since I've done it, I've been immensely blessed in so many areas, with the relationships that I've been able to acquire, with all the things. I mean, we're in our office. We're in my office with our podcast studio. Like, that's crazy, right? Like, who'd have thunk, right? But that's it, just par for the course. It's getting the work done. So anyway, this year, 2025, I've made a commitment that I'm going to focus on my income. And really dial that in. And a lot of focusing on your personal income, a couple nuggets out there, is not necessarily how much you make, but how much you spend.
Right.
How much you spend and how easily it is to just spend it because you can, or because in a hustler's mind, we're going to make it up in a little bit. And that's a big sales lesson.
But I think your mindset's changed from where it was before. just the way you went after, say chasing money, but then taking the focus off you for the past however many years, and many things have come your way because of that. But at some point you do obviously have to consider that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it's, like anything else, so the way you go about it and what you're trying to achieve with that. And, you make the analogy many times, you can't, if you're a plane that's going down, you put the oxygen mask on yourself, or, your kid, your wife, whoever. It's like, well, if you don't save yourself, you can't do anything for anybody else. So.
Absolutely. And that's a perfect segue into where I'm getting at is it's not necessarily me focusing on, oh yeah, I got to make all this money so I can go out and buy, all this frivolous shit. It's like, no, right now I'm at a space right now where I'm, in order for me to crank it up 2 or 3 more gears, I've got to take care of some very basic fundamental things in my life and focus dearly on that, so that I can it's kind of like backing up 2 steps to go forward 10,
right?
So that I can really deliver on the best version of myself and the best product that I have, and focusing on my finances and my personal income is one of those. An additional one is something that any gym owner in the combat sports world or even practitioner can tell you is I've really neglected the healing of my body. You know what I mean? I've really let my body.
Oh, don't do that.
I know. I know.
That's I'm here to tell you.
That's why I brought it up, because I knew you'd yell at me.
Don't do that.
I really neglected proper warm up, proper recovery, rest. Rest is probably the biggest battle that I have, and I sleep well at night. I'm a sound sleeper, and I've got my little Fitbit. I've fallen in love with this Fitbit. I know it's a little outdated compared to some of the stuff they have now, but I've fallen in love with it. And the biggest thing that I just am obsessed with is sleep. Yep. And I don't understand why, if I go to bed at 11:30 and I wake up at 6:30, right? That's supposed to be 7 hours. It says I only slept 6 hours. It always says I'm awake for an hour, but I go right to sleep. I don't take too long to go to sleep. And I'm really slow person that wakes up. You know what I mean? But I guess throughout the night, it's tossing and turning. That's
because I've always been horrible with sleep, like my whole life, and everything I've tried. I mean, things work for a while, but man, now one of the biggest things for me with that was feeling guilty. Like, if I'm not up by a certain time, if it's a lazy Sunday afternoon and I feel like not doing anything, and I need the rest, but your body's like clearly telling you, hey, you need a break. And then, I should be doing this. I should be doing that. It's not, it took me a while to realize it's not a selfish thing. It's a necessary, self-preservation thing, like to get that rest and recovery.
No, I totally agree. And that you really resonated really well. One of the biggest kind of in the lines of that concept, one of the biggest mistakes you can ever make is if you wake up in the middle of the night, look at what time it is.
Oh yeah.
Do not do that, because it puts you in that mind, like you're thinking like, fuck, I only got 3 more hours. And you're like, now you're starting to really shift the kind of mindset, and then you really don't get back sound asleep, up until about a half hour before you
need to be up. Yeah. Actually, absolutely have to be up.
100%. Yeah. So that's been a big priority on my list for 2025, and is to heal my body. My neck's been in pain for 2 years. I think it's trickled down into my thoracic and into my shoulders. Now I'm starting to have pain. I got this weird thing, like when I roll over, it hurts. Oh, it hurt right there. So it's only getting worse.
And it's all connected.
It's all connected. So for me, in order to everybody says it, I want to give some actionable items. The first thing is we're switching insurance. My wife just got a new job, and we've got some new insurance. So we're switching insurance. When that goes into effect in a couple of days, the beginning of the year, I'm going to go ahead and get my entire body scan. I've got a couple nagging injuries. We're going to do it all now. We're not going to be waiting for proof. You're going to fucking do what I knew. I pay my insurance. I'm coming to the doctor. This is what I want. And if we can't get it done, I'll go to a doctor that will. I've been with the same primary for over 20 years, so, and we can go on a rabbit hole about the whole medical shit in America. But anyway, but yeah, and then what I'm going to do is once I get that taken care of, and I'll go through the hoops with the PT and the MRIs and the X-rays and all the things that they require me to do, and bop. Then I'm gonna take it another step further and find a professional that I can deal with that can heal me. Right? You know what I mean? We're kind of limited with that on the Eastern Shore, or at least in Salisbury, I should say. So for me, making that a priority is number one. Because again, if I'm broke up and my body's fucked up, you know what I mean, and I'll be 44 this year in April, then how am I going to deliver on the best I can? You know,
Yeah.
A lot of probably the reason why I'm not getting the adequate amount of sleep is because I'm tossing and turning, because my shoulder hurts, my neck hurts, my back hurts, something, you know, my knees bother me.
And that rolls into the day.
And it rolls into the day. Yeah. And next thing you know, I'm, you know,
Tired, irritable.
And, yeah. And I'm not, and the brain fog. That's been the biggest thing that, you know, has gotten me. I have been on TRT for the past 2 years. Right. And, you know, man, that has been a game changer for me, a game changer. Now, full disclaimer, if you thinking about getting on TRT, you need to consult with your doctor. You need to talk to your doctor first, and you need to get your blood work done. Another thing is don't be going to black market shit. Like, go to a fucking doctor, talk to somebody that understands. And even when you go to a doctor, a TRT doctor, you need to make sure that they're not just trying to sell you product, that you're doing what's best for you. And the best way that I can tell you to do that is you must understand that once you go down that path, that it's going to be a path for life or forever for most people, and that you need to do your blood work and be asked the questions and be adamant on getting it done. They said I could do my blood work every 6 months. I choose to do it every 3 because I want to know. My blood work was good. Everything was working really well, other than my enzymes a little higher in my liver, but I like that drink. You know what I mean? But what happened was I was just feeling tired and sluggish, as a 40-year-old man would, right? Mm-hmm. I don't recommend, you know what I mean, you getting on it as a kid or in your 20s or even in your 30s. I think once you start hitting 38 to 40, I think you should really start, you know, maybe considering it and talk to your doctor.
Well,
and
that's
see
what the blood
screening
is for, so...
100%. And I've been getting my blood work done. You know, I'm very, very anal on that shit, man. One of probably my biggest fears is not being able to take care of myself. You know what I mean? And being stuck in a home or being stuck under somebody's care. You know what I mean? Like, I can tell you right now, we not going out like that. Like, dog, we not going out like that. Like, I'll have my own goodbye in my home, and then off to some crazy wild party scene, and I'm gonna run it to the wheels fall off. But knowing my luck, I'll probably do that and do all kinds of crazy stuff, and then fucking cure and live for 20 years. But anyway, yeah. So, you know, that has been a big benefit for me. Peptides have been a big benefit for me. You know what I mean? I've not really dove in it. I don't do any more than they prescribe. Actually, I do a little bit less than what they prescribe, just because, you know, I do understand the science, but. You know,
I mean, you kind of mentioned this, like, don't just jump on everything that's out there, every latest thing that comes up and every latest fad, or, you know, everything that pops up on a podcast because they say, oh, this is what you need to take today. Yep. Definitely get that blood work and see what you need and get that very specific to you. And, cause, I mean, for several, one, it's not always going to be good for you. And two, you can waste a whole lot of money on stuff that you don't necessarily need. So.
That's another thing, is know that this is a commitment. This is something that, you know, I don't do this for the vanity purposes. You know, actually, I'm quite out of shape looking, you know what I mean? In my opinion, you know, and that's kind of the next place where I'm going, but I don't do it for the vanity side. I don't do it, you know, to cheat the system. You know, I'm not competing anymore. You know what I mean? If I am, I'm competing, you know, in like a jiu-jitsu tournament or something like that. You know, I'm not doing anything crazy. And even with that world, it's a big controversy on, you know, what's right and what's wrong, what is and what isn't, and so on and so forth. But long story short, you know what I mean? I do believe in supplements, vitamins. I do believe in, you know, we jumped on this vitamin company called Momentous. Mm-hmm. Actually, I was told it was backed by Andrew Huberman, who's really big in the healing and health world. And it's NSF, so they send it away and get it approved and make sure everything that's in it. I'll tell you one thing that really, really was cool about that company, right? And this is why I'm such a believer. It was between Momentous and First Form that we were considering going with. I was with a company that was, you know, out of Texas called ID Life, and it was a great supplement. So I just thought I needed a change. And then I was one of those guys where, like, I was fucking taking everything. Like, you know, somebody said this work, I'd take that. Somebody said that work,
take 5 of the same thing.
Yeah, man. I was taking like fucking 6 or 7 or 8 gummies every morning and every night, not realizing that was about 30 grams of sugar before I go to bed. And I'm like, what the fuck, dude? You know what I mean? So, no wonder I can't get rid of this belly fat, you know what I mean? Things like that. And then I was just taking stuff, and then we started dialing it in. And ID Life was a great company. I really enjoyed them for 7 or 8 years. It just, I needed something different. There were some things that I was seeing that, I was doing my research like everybody else should. So anywho, I bumped into, we were going to go with First Form, but I bumped into this table at this show for Momentous, did my research, and, it was worth spending the extra $1 or $2 for the vitamins.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally cut my vitamin bill down 2/3, and that's with my wife and myself, and feel fantastic, feel great. So I'm a big promoter of get vitamins, and you don't have to use Momentous. I'm not name dropping. I don't get paid. Actually, if I sell you something, I'm going to wholesale with it. But you know what I mean? We do sell it, but you know what I mean? It's not something I'm putting a shameless plug in. I'm just saying that, it works for me. Anywhere it works, for you. You just need to make sure you know what's going in your body.
Right.
I had supplements that, we were going through you with, and, there was all these things I was doing that was just like too much of one and not enough of another and crossing over. But I'll tell you something about Momentous that really impressed me. Tungat Ali and Fedosia is very popular in right now. That somebody was on Rogan talking about it, and he was Andrew Huberman, maybe somebody else, just talking about the benefits of it. So I was getting the Fedosia through Momentous, and they sent out a mass email saying we're no longer going to carry this product because we found research that there is really no benefits from this. Based upon our research, there's really no benefits. It's not saying it's bad, not saying it's good. It's just we're not going to stand behind a product that necessarily doesn't come through with what the research has got to support it, basically. And I thought that was very interesting because they didn't have to do that, and it's a very, very popular selling supplement.
Yeah.
So they could have just said, "Hey, fuck it," you know what I mean? Yeah, it's working, but they didn't. So that really led me to believe.
Those are important things to look for. There was the one company that I dealt with where they had a similar policy was with their because they didn't manufacture it. They went to somebody like Momentous or something that actually did the manufacturing, found the best things out there, and then would package it with their custom pack for that. But they had a clause in there if they found a superior version of it that other manufacturer got kicked to the curb and they went with the better one at the same time. If they found more research saying that, well, this really isn't doing what it says, or there's nothing to really support any further that it is a benefit, then they would drop it. So that's something to look for. Any company to look for when it comes to that. Again, knowing what you're putting in your body.
100%. Yeah. And my wife is the research queen. So I had the benefit of having her. She's like, well, you're taking 6 different things of the same thing. And I'm like, okay. So but that segues into where another thing that I'm committed to in 25 is, I've spent so much time, I'm so much time in the gym, and, I'm I own a gym, I'm in the combat sports world, I'm getting older, but I still have that dog in me and that competitive nature in me. But one thing that really fucking eats at me, man, is like the vanity side of it. Well, because of the holidays, I'm about added extra 10 pounds heavier.
I got something for that. Get Fluvid.
Oh, yeah,
you drop 12 pounds real quick.
No thanks, but I know. But yeah, it was like, I ended up falling very short on my fitness goals this year. And I had done 75 hard in phase 1. I'd done so many different things, and it was just like, it was very disappointing and frustrating. Because again, without that carrot dangling, for some reason, my brain doesn't want to honor its commitment. And that's something that, I'm completely dialed in and committed to. I'm committed to losing, 25 pounds by the summer, and doing it the right way. And just cutting out all the bullshit, man. I've been eating crazy, like so many Americans do, crazy for the holidays, primarily Christmas. And kind of just fell to the wayside on all my, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to start in a week. Had that mentality, victim, like I'm just as guilty as anybody else. And fucking dude, I can feel the inflammation in my body.
Yes.
And obviously, if you don't know, cancer hides in inflammation, you know what I mean? And things like that. And that's,
95% of all the evil stuff is inflammation related.
Yep. Yeah. And you know this more than anybody that I know. You've been fucking battling that shit for a long time. And but I can just feel like it feels slower, feel lethargic, feel my brain isn't working. And it's just like, gosh, man. And it's fucked up because I was talking to a guy today. It's like, dude, sugar is so fucking addicting. Like I've never battled. I was talking to Coach Louis yesterday or this week. I've never battled with addiction, right? So I don't know what it's like to be an addict. Thank God, right? I do have addictive personality traits, 100%, and I definitely can keep the party going. You know what I mean? If I want to drink, we're gonna drink till we're done, and things like that. You know what I mean? And when I used to smoke weed, I'd smoke to us, as much as I could. So like for me, I know it's there. If I let it get out of hand, I could easily be a fucking crackhead. But at the end of the day, I don't know that feeling of being an addict where you want to quit something and you're powerless to it, right? And I empathize with many, people that struggle with addiction, 100%. You know what I mean? But I never experienced that.
Food's a drug.
Oh, dude.
Sugar's a drug.
That's where I'm at with it, dude. I have literally no turn off switch. If I don't have something I'm working towards or committed towards, and I'm left to my own devices, then what happens is I have no self control when it comes to once I eat one cookie, I'm okay. Once I get a little bit of chocolate,
dude, that's the worst thing for me.
Fucking bad, dude.
Worse than any other substance I've ever consumed. I quit drinking 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I mean that wasn't a problem. It's something I don't even really crave. But give me a tub of Ben and Jerry's. Let me just fucking whack out on that.
I know. Yeah, I quit drinking for a year before last, just to kind of get a reset because I was just being reckless. You know what I mean? And I was like, all right, you can't party like you used to, and you're in leadership roles and things like that. I want to preface this episode. This episode is a vulnerable episode. I want people to know that, you know what I mean? Champ Talk with Brandon Hudson and Chet, we're not these mythical creatures. I know everybody on the line wants to make it out like you're the biggest and the best. I know I probably sound like that sometimes, but no, I'm talking about my struggles. You know what I mean? I'm letting everybody know. But I quit drinking for a year to kind of reset because I was just acting reckless. I was doing reckless things. I'm in leadership. I don't want to have to apologize for some mistake I made while I was drinking, whether it be, if I got behind the wheel of a car, if I sat here and did something that went against my values, if I hurt somebody's feelings, if I got anything, I don't want to apologize for nothing. God forbid somebody get hurt. I'm just cool with that. And it helped me kind of put a gauge and put a governor on me, like, all right, this is some areas you can improve on. You know what I mean? Now I don't drink and drive, you know what I mean? Which I'm not saying that I did. I'm just saying that you shouldn't. But there was probably times in my life where I should have got behind the wheel, and I did, unfortunately. And, thank God nothing happened. How much time am I borrowing? Right. At that point, right?
Oh yeah.
So just a lot of things, you know what I mean, that I needed to put a governor on myself because you can't continue doing things the way you did them when you were younger. And even the whole alcohol drinking, context in itself is, a lot of people are saying, drinking and being done with it completely is, the gateway to success and all these things. Perhaps not. Clearly there's never going to go wrong by not drinking, right? You're not gonna have an issue with not drinking. I do like wine. I do like a good glass of wine or a couple glasses at night. Oh, yeah. And now they're finding research that says that it's actually good for you in a way where it completely resets you at nighttime with a glass of wine or two. There has been heart research. I've not seen any of this research or any papers. I'm just going by what I learned on the internet. But at the end of the day, you know what I mean. I do know this: excessiveness is not good. And excessively drinking and excessively partying and excessively that's not going to get you anywhere. You know what I mean? And that's where I had to come to grips with. But with sugar,
man, it's
with snacks, it's just like, fuck, man. Like there's no control in my mind, self-control, unless it's completely gone. And then at that point, you know what I mean? What keeps me focused and motivated to not? So I've come to this realization that, we're just done. I'm done not looking the part. I'm done not feeling the part. And healing my body, focusing on my finances, focusing on, getting in shape to where I want to feel, look and look the part, is number one on my commitment list this year. How about you?
How about me?
How about you?
Yeah, ditto all that.
You got anything that stood out for you in 2024 that,
oh geez,
you wish but you definitely want to do differently or plan to do differently? You had a lot of changes, man.
Yeah, and I mean pretty well. The switching occupations, that was a huge thing. Finally taking that leap.
Yeah.
And already a couple weeks in, I was feeling different, just feeling better. And again, nothing wrong with what I was doing or or anybody there, anything like that. It was just time for a change.
Yeah.
So I'm much happier now. In fact, being sick for a week was actually like kind of pissing me off because I was like, I'm not going to go in there and get anybody sick, spread it. But same time, I was like, shit, yeah, I can do this from home, but damn it, I look forward to getting up and going in there and doing our thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Same thing about coming here because something I look forward to. Just the general health thing, like seriously, everything. I mean, not to be lazy ass about it, but everything that you mentioned. I mean, yeah, it's got to be. I've got to make some shifts. But it is a difficult, very, very difficult thing. And the biggest part of that is that mindset part of it. For me personally, it's just really, really difficult for me.
Yeah.
It's just get just stuck in habits, and I'll do this tomorrow, and say, hey, well, it's just one more slice of pie.
Yeah.
It's Christmas, it's okay.
Tastes so fucking good.
But it's like, training more. I mean, really, all of the above. Something to look forward to. And I'm not going to beat myself up about it because I mean, it's where I'm at. So can't go backwards, but I can certainly do different and better going forward. So,
well, it's a great point. That leads me to what I want to leave this episode with some nuggets. I don't want to just talk about myself and yourself and where we fell short, what we plan on do. I want to give some gems to kind of piggyback off what you're saying. So a couple of things, right? You said something about, you know what I mean, feeling bad about it. And here's the thing. If we're constantly feeling bad or ashamed or embarrassed about, our fitness, our relationship, our lives, our job, or anything, we're always going to be in a deficit. Mm-hmm. We're always going to have the negative impact that's going to, come out somewhere and subconsciously or subliminally take us off of our shit. And we're never going to win because we're never really truly proud of ourselves. Just like if a kid, you tell a kid they're always fucking up, they're going to constantly fuck up and never see any self-worth. So the biggest thing is just winning the day, right? Winning the day, and even if you need to win the half a day, win the morning, win the hour, just win the day, right? Stop looking at, like for me, I'm not going to look at 25 pounds to lose. That's a mountain to climb, right? I'm going to look at how am I going to lose this next 5 pounds in the next 3 weeks, right? I think it's a really solid.
And what am I going to do every day?
What am I going to do every day to lose this next 5 pounds in the next 3 weeks, right? We can start with the end in mind, with the 25 pounds, but then we need to reverse engineer that and start and talk about, okay, cool. So 25 pounds, in 5 months, that's roughly 5 pounds a month. Okay, cool. That's roughly, pound 0.2, 0.3 a week. Cool. What can I do to beat that every single day? Another huge gem, and this is something that's really started to resonate with me in the past couple of years, is time blocking and structuring out your time and your day. Anybody that has a cell phone in their pocket, majority of the entrepreneurs, business people, salespeople, people that I talk to, none of them motherfuckers use their calendar. I
don't get it.
I don't understand it. I cannot function without my calendar. My calendar, I'm a Samsung guy, so I actually have a widget of a full calendar on one of my pages, right? So all I have to do is scroll, and there's my calendar. And I can go to 2038 on, December 30th, and it'll have all of my shit that I'm doing today in that calendar because you can repeat everything that you do in your normal schedule, and then you add to it. I started with birthdays, started with doctor's appointments, started with classes that I teach and sessions of my clients that I used to train when I was doing personal training. And then as I would go, they would be permanent in my phone, so they would always be there. And then as I go, I would sit here and have, anything that popped up, each week, put in there each day or whatever have you. If it's not in my fucking calendar, dude, I will not get it done. And you can't skip shit. Like I know that every, Tuesday at 7:00, I'm teaching kickboxing, right? I don't leave that out of my schedule on my calendar just because I know.
Because you know it.
I put it in there because what happens is usually I get a 10-minute alarm before that event happens, right? That tells me, hey, you got 10 minutes to wrap up whatever you're doing.
Yep.
Not 10 minutes before class starts, 10 minutes to wrap up whatever you're doing, right?
I was due, mine's 15 minutes for whatever.
Yeah.
That's the one I picked.
Yep.
You know, it's like, yep.
So whether I need to wrap up what I'm doing or decompress or process or prepare for the next task, I got 10 minutes. Then my alarm hits, boom, it's time to go. And by doing that, by utilizing your time and time blocking, you can plan out your workouts, plan out your dinners, plan out every fucking thing. The more prepared you are in life, the better. And then
it also makes others respect your time as well.
Yeah, because you're treating it like a professional.
Yeah.
You know, you don't go to the doctor and say, hey, I'm not feeling bad. I need to see you right now. He's gonna be like, no, motherfucker, I'll see you Tuesday at 4:00. And then he has you have his undivided attention. He's a professional. You have to treat your time like a professional, right? Your own personal time is how you have to act. And I'm talking to people that are like myself that are cringing over this fact because they're like, dude, I don't want to map out every moment of my day. I don't want to sit here and have my day and my week and my month so structured. That makes me feel like I'm enchained, and that makes me feel like I'm bogged down. I will tell you this right now, as I'm sitting here on this day, freedom is in structure. Freedom is in the structure of your time, of your day, of your life. I thought the same way because I'm a guy that can really just do really well in the chaos, really well in the chaos. I can take 17 different burning hats and just get it done, right?
Oh, that's me. But you know what leads to? More fucking chaos.
Yes.
That's been my experience.
Yes.
Like it took me years to figure that out. And I was like flying by the seat of my pants. And it's like, yeah, I don't want to be, have everything just regimented like this. But what ends up happening is you don't get stuff done that you need to get done. That becomes stressful.
Yep.
You can't, you don't even get really important shit done that you need to, and that gets pushed to a back burner, which isn't good. And then it just creates more problems.
100%.
I mean,
100%, dude. So I promise you this, once I started getting more structure with my time, and I fought my wife forever about this shit, but once I started getting more structure with my time and more dialed in, then what happened was that's when the freedom really revealed itself. Because when I'm off, I'm off. Or if I want to take off a certain amount of time, I take off a certain amount of time. I'm not in business to sit here and be a slave to my business, to myself, which most entrepreneurs and business owners are. I'm in business for freedom, right? For freedom financially, time-wise, my personal missions, all the above. And I just learned that structuring out your days and structuring out your weeks is the secret to all success, no matter if it's in fitness, relationships, business, all the above. That will pay massive dividends that you will not realize until you wake up one day like, holy shit, that's where, look what happened. And then to piggyback off that, when you're talking about, not beating yourself up and feeling guilty, when you're talking about having a time regiment and reverse engineering your goals, it's the daily deposits. It's putting those daily deposits into that, fitness bank and into that business bank and into that memory bank and all the things that you're trying to get better. You don't get strong and big muscles the first week you go into the gym. You get muscles as over time you continue to push and rip those muscles and repair those muscles and so on and so forth with lifting weights and exercise. Well, guess what happens? Eventually, after 6 months, a year, whatever, those results compound. And that is the same. I use muscles. It applies for jiu-jitsu, for combat sports, for losing weight, for everything. It compounds. So instead of trying to beat yourself up for not getting what you need to do, try to focus heavily on winning the day and focus heavily on putting in the deposits for your life so that you can stack them up and they can compound year after year after year after year. Social media marketing is a prime example of that. Everybody wants to get here and get millions of followers and all this crazy type of return on their social media. So they'll try to write this one post that's going to blow up the world. This is the post I swear that everybody's going to love and like. and they spend more time than they need. They do it one time and they get a bunch of likes and they're like, oh yeah, it's working. So then they go to the next one, do it again, and they don't get as much likes, and they do it again, they don't get as much likes. So now they think something's wrong, and then they just stop doing it. It's the constant deposits over and over and over in social media, in fitness, in your relationship, in your life, and winning the day, which is a huge secret to success. It's a huge secret to how you can be fucking accomplishing and coming up on the beginning of your New Year resolution and ending very, very strong at the end and ready to compound that in the following year. And, finally, the last thing I would say, and you hear it everywhere, is you got to take action. You got to take some sort of action. And by taking action, I 100% believe this, is you need to be in rooms and environments and in places that you're not with familiar people.
Mm-hmm.
So many people want to continue to latch on to the same fucking people they're comfortable with and think that that's going to bring them success when those same comfortable people are looking for the same thing you are. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to fail together. And you're not going to fail in a conducive way. You're going to fail in a way that you started and you didn't end the way you wanted to. Get into rooms, get into places, get into clubs, get into gyms, get into a combat sports world, into a gym world. Get into places where you're going to be around different people that can help bring you up. Rising tides raise all ships. Bring you up to the level that you're trying to be in, so that you can have the confidence and the fortitude and the want and the commitment to honor these commitments, so you can change your fucking life. You know, the longer you wait, the more death comes quicker. You know what I mean? The day that we start living is the day that we start dying. And the longer you wait to put something off or take action, the closer you're coming to a fucking miserable death. You know what I mean? You might have a lot of cool stories. You might have a lot of fun times, but really, man, it feels good to be 44 years old, 25 pounds overweight, and not feel like I'm old.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm not going to reveal your age on air. You know what I mean? You're more than welcome to do that, but you're older than me.
Mm-hmm.
And you've dealt with some health issues, and you dealt with that, but you don't feel old.
No.
That's the thing. And we both have...
Even when I'm hurting, I don't feel old.
And both of us, brother, and one could say, well, look at your old weathered faces. Well, yeah, look at mine. But both of us, brother, can tell you right now, we've got people our age...
I paid for this face.
Yes, sir. We got people our age look like they're on death's door.
That's true.
That look 20 years older than what we do. So again, I'm stressing to you guys, just, man, try to win the day. You heard my commitments and the things that I'm going to tell you that I'm doing and I'm working on. You know, I have a whole bunch of other ones that I'm working on, you know what I mean? And focus on improving. But I believe firmly that the best version of myself can be the best husband, father, leader, coach, you know, all of the above, man. And it comes from me having to really focus on these actionable items I just gave you guys. But that'll wrap it up. That'll wrap up this episode of Champ Talk with Brandon Hudson. It's been a real one. Like I said, by the time you guys hear this, it should be past the New Year. So Happy New Year. I hope you guys get something from this. I hope this motivates you to stay committed to your New Year's resolution you committed to a couple weeks ago. And, you know, again, we asked you like, share, comment, you know, subscribe to the page. If you got value from this, or you know anybody else who did, send that over to them.
Check in with us. Let's see how we're doing. Let us know how you're doing.
Yeah, comment on it, man. Let us know what's up. You know what I mean? We'd love to hear back from you. But other than that, man, this episode's been great. What are you guys doing today to become a champion?